Being a high-value man isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It isn't about expensive cars, designer clothes, or showing off on social media. Those things may attract attention, but they don't earn lasting respect. Real value comes from how you think, how you act, and how you carry yourself when life becomes difficult. These traits affect every part of your life: your career, your friendships, your relationships, and your confidence. Let's break down the 5 traits every high-value man develops. Number 1. He controls his emotions. A high-value man does not hand control of his peace to another person because he understands that the moment his emotions depend on her attention, her messages, her approval, or her decisions, he gives away the very thing that makes him strong. He stays calm when she becomes distant, when she changes her attitude, or when life does not go the way he hoped, because he knows panic has never solved a problem. Many men believe they must react immediately every time she pulls away, every time she takes longer to reply, or every time she seems less interested, but that only places their happiness in someone else's hands. A man who controls his emotions pauses before he acts, thinks before he speaks, and refuses to let temporary emotions create permanent mistakes. That does not mean he has no emotions. It means his emotions never become his master. When she sees that he remains steady instead of becoming desperate, she begins to understand that his confidence comes from within and not from her attention. That changes everything, because confidence that cannot be shaken is rare. Many men lose themselves trying to keep someone who is already pulling away. They lose sleep, lose focus at work, stop enjoying their hobbies, ignore their friends, and spend every spare moment wondering what changed. Their entire life starts revolving around one person. That is exactly why they lose themselves. A high-value man refuses to let that happen. He continues building his future, training his body, learning new skills, strengthening his finances, and improving his character, because he knows his purpose cannot stop every time someone changes her mood. He understands that people respect those who remain grounded under pressure. She may expect him to become anxious or seek constant reassurance, but instead she sees someone who continues living with confidence whether she stays or leaves. That quiet strength speaks louder than endless words. It shows that he values himself enough to protect his peace. This mindset changes every relationship because he no longer acts from fear. He acts from wisdom. He listens carefully instead of making quick assumptions. He watches actions instead of believing every promise. He accepts reality instead of chasing false hope. If she truly values him, she will appreciate the stability he brings. If she does not, he still refuses to lose himself trying to change another person's heart, because he understands that no amount of pleading can create genuine respect. Real confidence grows every time he chooses discipline over impulse. Every difficult situation becomes another opportunity to become stronger instead of becoming bitter. Little by little, he becomes the kind of man who walks into every room with quiet confidence, because he knows his value does not rise or fall based on one person's opinion. That is why people naturally respect him. They see a man who remains composed when others lose control. They see someone who leads himself before trying to lead anyone else. As that habit grows stronger, women notice something different about him. They notice he is not trying to impress everyone. He is not seeking constant approval, and he is not changing his personality to avoid being disliked. That quiet certainty makes his presence memorable because it is built on character instead of attention. A woman who genuinely values a strong and dependable man understands that losing someone with this level of emotional discipline means losing stability, consistency, and trust, qualities that become increasingly difficult to replace. Whether she stays or leaves, He continues becoming a better version of himself because his mission is bigger than temporary emotions, and that decision transforms every part of his life. Number 2. He keeps his word. Nothing separates a high-value man from the crowd faster than keeping his word, because promises mean nothing without consistent action. Many men speak confidently when life is easy, but their discipline disappears the moment challenges appear. They make plans they never finish, set goals they never reach, and say they will change without following through. A high-value man chooses a different path. He understands that every promise he breaks weakens his own self-respect before anyone else's respect is affected. When he tells himself he will wake up earlier, he does it. When he commits to improving his health, he keeps showing up even when motivation disappears. When he says he will build a better future, he keeps working long after excitement fades. This consistency changes the way he sees himself, because every completed promise becomes proof that he can rely on his own character. That inner trust cannot be bought and cannot be borrowed. It is earned through repeated action. Women notice this quality because reliability creates security. Empty words become easy to recognize, but steady actions stand out. If she watches a man who says one thing and does another, confidence in him naturally fades. If she watches a man whose actions always match his words, respect grows naturally because consistency is difficult to fake over time. That does not mean every relationship will succeed or that every woman will appreciate him, but it means he never sacrifices his standards simply to gain someone's approval. He refuses to become someone different just to avoid losing a relationship because he knows pretending always comes with a price. Instead, he builds a life that reflects his values every single day. He arrives when he says he will. He finishes what he starts. He takes responsibility when he makes mistakes instead of making excuses. He understands that character is built in ordinary moments when nobody is watching. Every small decision shapes the man he becomes. This way of living also changes how he responds when someone disappoints him. Instead of arguing endlessly or trying to force another person to become who they are not, he pays attention to repeated actions. He accepts reality instead of inventing comforting stories. If she repeatedly shows that her actions and her words do not match, he believes what she consistently does rather than what she occasionally says. That protects his peace and saves him from investing years into situations that never truly move forward. Many men stay trapped because they hope potential will replace reality. A high-value man understands that lasting relationships require effort from both people. He offers honesty, respect, and consistency, but he also expects those qualities in return. If they are missing, he does not waste his life trying to convince someone to value what they freely overlook. He simply continues walking his own path with dignity. This approach is not cold. It is wise. It reminds him that self-respect grows every time he lives according to his principles instead of his fears. As the years pass, that discipline becomes his reputation. Friends trust him, colleagues depend on him, family members respect him. Women recognize that he is not driven by empty promises, but by dependable action. A woman who understands the value of loyalty, consistency, and integrity realizes that losing a man with these qualities means losing someone who brings stability into every part of life, and that is not easily replaced. More importantly, he no longer measures his worth by whether someone stays. He measures it by whether he remains faithful to the standards he has chosen for himself, and that decision becomes the foundation of lasting confidence, genuine respect, and a life built on strength instead of uncertainty. Number 3, he protects his time. A high-value man understands that time is the one thing he can never earn back, so he becomes extremely careful about where he invests it, who he gives it to, and what he allows to distract him, because every hour spent chasing validation is an hour stolen from building the life he truly wants. Many men wake up with big dreams, but slowly trade them away for endless scrolling, pointless arguments, unhealthy habits, and relationships that constantly drain their energy instead of adding to it. They wait for someone else to decide whether they deserve attention, while their own goals sit untouched. A high-value man refuses to live like that because he knows his future depends on today's decisions. He wakes up with purpose even when motivation is missing. He keeps learning, working, training, and improving because he understands that discipline creates opportunities long before success becomes visible. When a woman enters his life, she becomes part of his journey rather than the center of his existence. He enjoys her company, values genuine connection, and treats her with respect, but he never abandons his mission to keep someone interested. If she constantly expects him to prove himself while giving very little in return, he notices the pattern instead of making excuses for it. He understands that healthy relationships grow through mutual effort, not through one person carrying all the weight while hoping things will eventually change. That realization saves him years of disappointment because he stops confusing attention with commitment and temporary excitement with lasting character. He also learns to say no without guilt, because every yes given to something meaningless is a no to something important. He says no to distractions that steal his focus. He says no to people who only appear when they need something. He says no to habits that slowly weaken his discipline. At first, this may disappoint others, but over time, it earns respect because people recognize that his priorities are not controlled by pressure or emotion. They are guided by purpose. His calendar reflects his values instead of other people's expectations. His actions show that he respects his own future enough to protect it every single day. Women often notice this difference because he is not constantly available simply out of fear of losing their attention. He has responsibilities, goals, and standards that matter deeply to him, and that quiet sense of direction becomes one of his strongest qualities. He does not disappear to create mystery. He simply refuses to neglect the life he is building. That difference is enormous. His confidence comes from knowing that whether a relationship succeeds or ends, he is still moving forward. Every week, he becomes more skilled, more disciplined, more capable, and more prepared for bigger opportunities. Instead of asking how he can make someone stay, he asks whether the people around him help him become a better man or slowly pull him away from the person he wants to become. That single question changes everything because it shifts his attention from seeking approval to protecting his purpose. As the years pass, he builds a life that is rich with achievement, meaningful friendships, strong health, and genuine peace because he never allows temporary emotions to steal permanent opportunities. The people who belong in his life naturally respect the fact that his time has value because he respects it first. If you're ready to protect not only your time but your future, you'll find the Stoic Relationship Blueprint for Men linked in the comments, packed with timeless principles that help you build unshakable confidence, stronger relationships, and lasting self-respect. And it's now available as an audiobook, so you can absorb this life-changing wisdom while training, jogging, or simply going about your day. And once it's yours forever, giving you lifetime access to lessons you can return to whenever life tests you. And there's even more coming because the Stoic Relationship Blueprint course for men launches in the coming weeks to help you apply these principles step by step. So comment Blueprint if you want early access and be among the first to transform the way you think, lead, and live. Number 4. He never stops growing. One of the greatest mistakes a man can make is believing that reaching one goal means his work is finished, because the moment growth stops, confidence slowly begins to disappear. A high-value man never believes he has all the answers. He stays curious, keeps learning, and looks honestly at the areas where he still needs to improve, because he understands that real strength is built through continuous progress rather than pretending to be perfect. Every challenge becomes a lesson instead of an excuse to quit. Every disappointment becomes an opportunity to develop patience, wisdom, and resilience. When something goes wrong, he does not spend months blaming other people or waiting for life to become easier. He asks himself what he can control today and then takes action. That mindset separates him from men who remain trapped in the same cycles year after year. He reads books that expand his thinking. He develops valuable skills. He improves his communication. He takes care of his physical health because he understands that a strong body supports a strong mind. He manages his finances wisely because freedom grows when unnecessary debt and careless spending shrink. He surrounds himself with people who challenge him to become better instead of encouraging him to stay comfortable. If a woman encourages his growth and supports his purpose, he values that deeply because healthy relationships inspire both people to become stronger together. If she repeatedly discourages his goals, mocks his ambitions, or expects him to lower his standards simply to make life easier, he pays attention instead of ignoring those warning signs. He understands that lasting respect cannot exist where growth is constantly discouraged. Rather than trying to convince someone to appreciate his ambition, he quietly continues moving forward because he knows his future depends on his decisions, not on another person's approval. This attitude changes the way he sees failure as well. He no longer views mistakes as proof that he is not good enough. He views them as information that helps him improve. Every setback teaches him something valuable if he is willing to learn from it. That makes him difficult to discourage because his confidence no longer depends on getting everything right the first time. It depends on knowing that he will keep improving regardless of the outcome. People naturally respect this kind of determination because it is rare. Many men quit when progress becomes slow. A high-value man continues even when nobody notices. He continues when the results are invisible. He continues because becoming stronger is part of who he is, not something he does only when it is convenient. Over time, this steady commitment transforms every area of his life. His conversations become wiser, his decisions become calmer, his relationships become healthier, his opportunities become greater. The confidence he carries no longer comes from appearances, but from the quiet knowledge that he has built himself through consistent effort. That inner growth becomes something no one can take away because it is earned through years of discipline, humility, and action. Number 5. He respects himself. First, everything begins with self-respect, because without it, a man will constantly accept less than he deserves, make excuses for behavior that damages his peace, and sacrifice his own values simply to avoid being alone. A high-value man understands that respecting himself is not arrogance. It is the foundation of every healthy relationship, every meaningful friendship, and every important decision he makes. He knows that people often treat him according to the standards he accepts, so he becomes careful about the boundaries he sets and the behavior he tolerates. He does not become rude or selfish. Instead, he becomes clear about what he will and will not accept. If someone repeatedly lies, manipulates, or shows a lack of respect, he does not waste endless energy trying to change them. He accepts what their actions reveal and makes decisions that protect his peace. If a woman genuinely values him, she will appreciate honesty, consistency, and mutual respect, because those qualities strengthen a relationship. If she repeatedly dismisses his boundaries or expects him to abandon his principles simply to keep her happy, He understands that losing himself is never the price of real love. He would rather walk away with his dignity than remain in a situation that slowly destroys his confidence. This is not about pride. It is about understanding that a man who cannot respect himself will always struggle to build relationships based on genuine trust. Self-respect also changes the way he speaks to himself. He stops calling himself a failure after every mistake. He stops believing that one disappointment defines his future. He becomes patient with his own growth while refusing to lower his standards. He forgives himself for the past, learns from it, and keeps moving forward instead of carrying unnecessary shame for years. This quiet confidence becomes visible in everything he does. He no longer seeks constant approval because he already knows the kind of man he is working to become. He no longer competes for attention because his purpose matters more than temporary recognition. He no longer fears being alone because he has built a life worth living regardless of who enters or leaves it. Ironically, this makes him more attractive to the right people because confidence rooted in self-respect is steady rather than desperate. It creates trust instead of uncertainty. It inspires admiration instead of pity. Above all, it gives him freedom. Freedom to make decisions based on wisdom instead of fear. Freedom to choose relationships that add value instead of draining it. Freedom to remain true to his principles even when doing so is difficult. That is what separates a high-value man from everyone else. His greatest strength is not that he convinces everyone to stay. His greatest strength is that he never abandons his character in order to keep someone who refuses to value it. That decision shapes every part of his future and allows him to build a life defined by purpose, integrity, resilience, and lasting self-respect. The world rewards distraction because a man who never masters himself is easy to influence. But you have a choice today. So if you're ready to build unshakable confidence, stronger relationships, and lasting self-respect, comment, "I choose mastery." Grab the Stoic Relationship Blueprint for Men linked in the comments, filled with timeless principles that can transform your life immediately and now available as an audiobook, so you can listen while jogging, training, or going about your day. Then like this video and subscribe to help more men discover these lessons before they waste years repeating the same mistakes. I'm also putting the finishing touches on the Stoic Relationship Blueprint course, built from more than 2,000 years of enduring principles that have stood the test of time and are designed to help you apply them to your life and relationships step by step, launching in just a few weeks. So don't miss the opportunity to own knowledge that will always be yours.